What's up, guys? I'm Christine from Irene Fitness, and today I'm going to make a sauteed kale salad using some ingredients that I already have prepped in the fridge, so it's going to be a little quicker. If you want to see how to use some of your ingredients, keep watching. If you're new here, you should consider subscribing because I'm a certified personal trainer and a nutrition coach, and every Wednesday I'm going to bring you recipes that not only show you some healthy meals to make, but will also offer you some tricks and some things that I do to practice healthy, consistent meals for healthy eating. So like today, we're going to make a sauteed kale salad, and it's going to use some ingredients that are already prepped ahead of time. One thing that's huge for staying on track, no matter what your goals are, whether it's muscle mass gain or fat loss, you need to be prepared with the right foods in your fridge. You need to have stuff that you can just grab and make a quick meal with without spending an hour in the kitchen every time. So like a big example is having protein that's cooked, a big thing of bulk chicken that you can put to work. We're gonna use some chicken today that's already been cooked. The other thing is having vegetables that are already prepared and chopped and washed, and then also having like some grains that are already cooked and in the fridge. So those are the three staples that you want to have for prepped foods. We'll do a different video on prepping tips, but today I'm going to utilize some of them. Okay, so what are we going to use today, you might be wondering? We'll start with the chicken. I only have one lonely thigh here. It's a boneless, skinless chicken thigh. I started with more. I'll make a big batch, probably like 2-3 pounds at a time. It depends on how much you eat in a week and who's eating it with you. I like to season mine only with salt and pepper, very lightly on both, because I want to be able to season them as I incorporate them into meals. So depending on how you're going to be using your chicken, you might want to flavor it full blast with some seasoning, or you might want to leave it naked so that you can have more flexibility when you're cooking. So this is naked. Greens. This is kale. It's off the stem, chopped. The stem is in here too. You can eat part of the stem that's not super woody. So not only do I need to have my greens ready to go, but also I need to put them in these bags that are more portion sized, because when I buy big tubs of spinach or big bushels of kale that are this big, I literally can't fit it all into my refrigerator. We have a little small dorm size refrigerator, and what happens when I shop is I literally fill this entire counter up with food, and then I have to break it down and package it into smaller packages that are more manageable to get in and out of my fridge. If I don't do that, I literally won't get it into my refrigerator. It just won't fit. So not only is that a prepping tip to eat healthy, it's also a tip that's just mandatory. If you want to make a small fridge work, you need to put a little bit more effort in when you get out of the store in order to get it to fit into your refrigerator. So next I have some red onions. I like to use these Rubbermaid Brilliance containers. I talk about them all the time. They really help keep the moisture out of my produce. And these red onions are diced. When I prep my onions, I usually dice them, and I also like to leave them in the half moon shape, so depending on what I'm using them for, I can have flexibility in that recipe. Bell peppers. I'm actually not cooking with these today, but I wanted to show you how I cut them. I just put them in planks like this, little cheeks. By getting them off of the stem and into here, you save a lot of space. So this ends up fitting like 3 bell peppers. And some of those bell peppers are like honking. So just another space saving tip for when you're buying groceries, putting them into this container, you really consolidate your sizes down by doing prep. I'm using this jalapeno. That's why I have this container out, because we are going to use some jalapeno today. Next we have legumes. I have black beans. I use beans a lot, and I wanted to share a tip on the portion sizes for these. It can be very confusing to people. If you were to look at the back of a can, it will say serving size half a cup. Now be careful, because that half of a cup includes the liquids that are inside of the can. So if you're just, like, if you're literally scooping out of here and getting a liquid of everything with the beans, that's how they intend that to be measured. Nobody does that. Everybody takes the can, pours it into the strainer, rinses it, and then if you were to grab a half a cup from there, you're getting way over an intended serving size. So what I do is I do that, I put it in a colander, I strain it, I rinse it, and then I divide it into 3.5 servings because this says 3.5 servings. So I'll weigh it out. That's one of the things that I'll weigh out, and I'll do a little post-it note on top that just says what a full serving is and what a half serving is in grams, so that when I'm cooking with it, I can keep my portions in control. And measuring portions doesn't mean you're counting calories. It doesn't mean you're counting macros. A lot of people do. There's a time and a place for that, and it's definitely helpful. But what you want to practice is understanding what a portion size is so that you're not overeating or undereating without knowing. It's just being informed and acknowledged about what you're consuming. So this broccoli slaw we're going to use, this isn't a prepped food by me, but it is something that I like to utilize a lot. I love regular coleslaw and other veggie slaw like this broccoli slaw. So if I'm shopping at Sam's Club or Costco, I'll usually get the plain coleslaw because the big bags are $2-3 and you just can't beat the value on that. If I'm shopping at a regular grocery store, then I'm gonna splurge and I'm going to get the more nutrient like kale, broccoli, Brussels sprout slaw because it's oftentimes the same price as a plain cabbage slaw. So I have the broccoli slaw today. I have some pumpkin seeds, some pepitas. This is another item you definitely want to portion out, especially because it's a trigger food. If you just go into this and start mowing on nuts from your hand, that's like the worst thing you can do is ever start eating nuts or peanut butter without portioning it out. You will grossly overeat it. It's really hard to manage out of a package. So just take your serving size and put the rest away. Avocado, we're gonna use some avocado, and we have some spices. We have coriander, cumin, garlic powder, and smoked paprika. So let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna get our saute pan going, warm it up. This is my 10-inch. And while that's heating up, I'm just gonna chop up a couple rings of jalapeno into a dice. You can omit the jalapeno if you don't like spicy, but I do, so I'm gonna put it in. And once that's warm, we're gonna put 1 teaspoon of oil into the pan, and then gonna get these jalapenos sauteed. The more spicy you like it, the less you want to saute it because it kills the heat of the jalapenos. So when they're raw, they're gonna be spicier. And always measure your oil out. This salad is a healthy salad. It's on the higher fat side for a meal. So because we're using 3 foods that are fat foods, we're using oil, we're using seeds, and we're using avocado. They're all healthy fats, but in excess, anything that's healthy can be bad for you. So that's why we're gonna measure out the oil, we're gonna measure out the seeds, we're gonna measure out the avocado to make sure this doesn't turn into a 1,000-calorie salad, okay? So start with the oil in here. I'm gonna use a full teaspoon because I think it gives the kale a really nice char, and you really want the kale to shine through in this. So once it gets medium-high heat, start with the jalapeno. And I'm gonna let this go for a little bit. The next thing you want to do while that's getting ready is your chicken. You want to just dice it up into bite-sized pieces, and we're gonna season the chicken with some spices that's going to go well with the salad. So that's gonna be coriander and cumin. I already have it lightly salted and lightly peppered. And you can imagine how long this salad would take if I was starting everything from scratch. which this meal is from scratch, but I'm not doing it all right now. And the theory is it takes you the same amount of time to cook 10 thighs as it does to cook one thigh. So why don't you do it all at once and then save yourself that time throughout the week? Also, when you do the food prep, you're preparing the food when you're in the mood to prepare your food. You've mentally told yourself this is what you're going to do that day. You're going to set yourself up for success. And then cooking, it's a lot easier because when you're tired and you're hangry and you don't want to cook, you're going to make an excuse. So prevent yourself from making excuses by just putting in some front end work. I'm going to get this kale in. And I've really just been having some hankerings for kale lately. I seem to go in and out of salad trends. Like, I'll have them for a while, and then I'll get kind of sick of them, so I'll ease off of them, and then I'll go back on them. And I haven't had kale for a long time, and it's just been hitting the spot. I'm going to put the chicken on here so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm also going to get some of the black beans on here. I'm using just a half serving of the black beans. So like I said, I'm using just a half a serving of the black beans, which ends up looking like this. And the reason I'm doing that is just to keep the overall calories of this meal within a range that I want it to be. So for this salad, the calories come in at 424 calories, 30 grams of carbs, 21 grams of fat, and 34 grams of protein. So it's very good. Depending on what your day is like and how many meals you have and what your goals are, this could be high for you, this could be low for you, it's all relative to the person. I'm gonna toss this around. And then I'm also going to take a lime, which I forgot to mention earlier. I'm going to cut that in half. And I'm going to squeeze it into here to help cook it. The juice is going to give it a little bit of a steam effect. The acid in this lime is going to help cut the greens bitterness down. So by sauteing it, the kale is going to get more tender, it's going to get less bitter, and it's going to be a little bit easier to eat. So next, I'm going to put some cumin on this. Roughly a quarter teaspoon, can be more or less. I'm actually going to put more. Half a teaspoon. So this is essentially Mexican flavors. Coriander, you can do the same. Just a couple quarter teaspoons, just half teaspoon. And then broccoli slaw. This kale is coming along nice. You can see it's starting to char up. I'm going to pull it off because I don't want it to go so far down that it's just a mop. I want it to still have a little bit of bite to it and still have some volume to it. But before I pull it off, I'm going to add in the slaw. And I'm putting the slaw in here really just to help toss it because I don't want to toss it on my plate. And I really like the crunch that the slaw adds. So we're going to keep that raw. And this cooking style that you're seeing on this video is a little bit more normal of my day-to-day, where this is in real time. This is how you see me juggling my countertop, battling the heat, battling the jalapeno smoke. This is what cooking in a van is like. Oop. And that was perfect timing. Couldn't have planned that better. All right, so next, the pan is already hot still. I'm gonna put on a half a teaspoon more of the oil. Just a half teaspoon. And it's just to get this chicken and the beans to life. So this won't take long at all. As soon as that's done, then really all we need to do is get the rest of our toppings on there, and then it's chow time. All right, so the pepitas, pumpkin seeds. These already have salt on them. Always be cautious of what's inside of your label. So this is just organic sprouted shelled pumpkin seeds with sea salt. And we're just gonna use 1/4 of a serving of this. A little goes a long way on a salad. So we're gonna use 1/4 of an ounce. And like I said, I always weigh out my nuts and my seeds. And we're gonna add in a little bit of paprika into the seeds and just a pinch of garlic into the seeds. So it's gonna be a play on a crouton. Mix it up. This teaspoon has a little bit of residual oil on it from when I measured out my oil. So that's gonna help the seasoning stick to these seeds. If you already threw your teaspoon in the sink, just put it under some running water, and a little bit of water will also help make it stick. So that's ready. This is ready. Let's get this up here. Get this looking nice. The salad is also great because if you don't have a certain thing, you can put on whatever you have. Okay, so the seeds. And I love the smoked paprika. It gives it such a nice smoky flavor. And then I'm gonna put on some onion, because I love onion in my salad. Do like 1/4 cup of the red onion. You may want more, you may want less. And then the avocado. I'm gonna do just 1/4 of an avocado. Isn't that the best when you cut open an avocado and it's perfect? Sometimes you just get lucky. All right. Fan it. You always want your plates to look pretty because you eat with your eyes first. That's perfect. And then I do like to put a little bit of pepper on my avocado. I like to put sometimes a little bit of garlic on it, sometimes not. A little bit of salt on just on the avocado part. And then I still have half of my lime. I'm gonna put lime on the avocado. And you could put it over the entire salad. We already used some lime juice in there, so if you're more sensitive to lime and citrus and tanginess, you might want to just start to see how you like it without it, and then if you feel like it needs more dressing, add the rest of the lime and you should be good. So here you have it. It's a disaster in here, but this is reality sometimes. And this entire salad is really quick, and this is something that you could easily pay $15 at a restaurant for. I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions on the recipe or on measuring things out, like the beans can be kind of confusing, leave a comment below and I'll answer your question. Check in every Wednesday for recipes and fitness videos, and Sundays for RV travel and RV upgrades and lifestyle. Thanks so much for watching.